About to put a big question on the table. It's a question that some women can answer easily and confidently. For other women, it might be more thought-provoking. What's my purpose? It's an important question, no doubt. My next guest believes a defined purpose brings with it passion, fulfillment, and ultimately happiness, all things she wants to help women find. Lizzy Jensen is a former lawyer, a wife, and mom of 4, including twin girls, and founder of The Small Seed, a non-denominational interfaith website for women. She recently launched LizzyJensen.com, a platform dedicated to helping women find their purpose. We are so excited to welcome Lizzy to Studio 5. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You are a woman on a mission, and what I love is you've got other women in your eyesight, in your heart. What's your goal with this new direction?
Really to help give tools and direction for women that weren't there when I was searching, to help empower them, to help them feel confident, and to use their time in ways that make them happy.
You say that question that we just threw out there, and it's a biggie, what's my purpose, is perhaps more profound than ever at this time in history. Why do you believe that?
Yeah, absolutely. We live in a time in the world's history that's completely unique to any other time, especially for women. We have more discretionary time than women have ever had. It's way more easy to connect with other women from our kitchens, from our homes, than any other woman has ever had. But also we have more distractions than ever. So we have this delicate balance of, I have discretionary time, I can connect with other women, but I also have distractions. So what am I gonna do about that? And if we can harness that power, I believe womankind can do something that's never been done in the history of the world. And that's a big, bold promise, but I truly believe that.
Well, I'm with you, and I think that's an interesting responsibility as you describe it, more time, more distractions. That's almost a weight to me as I think about it, like, gosh, I want to turn that around and grab that and cultivate that for good. Have you ever struggled with this quest for personal purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. So growing up, I always thought, I want to have this big family, I'm going to get married young, and I go to college and I didn't get married. And so I lived abroad, I served a mission for my faith, and then I worked, and then I came back to law school, and then I met my husband. I thought, okay, now I'm back to the original plan.
Yes.
And then we couldn't have kids for a few years, and I thought, so I looked, where are these resources to help me that champion both family and finding a purpose and living on purpose and living true to my gifts and talents? And I couldn't find anything. And I saw my other friends in law school, other women especially, also struggling, and I thought, if I ever figure this out, I'm going to share. And I think that's why, personally, I find so much joy now being able to put those trainings and tools out there, because it was hard. It was really hard for me to find.
And I think every woman out there wants to feel purposeful in her days, in her work, in her family, in her life. And I'm willing to guess many like you don't quite know where to start. You say the first step is to just start. Take a step, move forward, no matter how small that step is.
Yeah. Ironically, I feel like most women they have passions, they have dreams, they have talents and gifts, and they know something about them, but a lot of women live in fear. How is this gonna look? Or what if I jump out and I'm not very good at it? And I say just start. I think the biggest issue is when you sit in that place of not knowing and you stew there, or you start spending a lot of time and money making something perfect, because you then never get feedback until you launch.
You hit the nail on the head there with that perfection paralysis that we feel. Like, I can't put that idea out there or that project out there until it's polished and shiny and ready to go.
Yes. Yes, so I say just start. Take an action, even if it feels small. I, about 5 years ago, had these feelings. I wanted to start this blog. I actually felt really uncomfortable about it, that perfection paralysis and what are people gonna think, but I wanted to start talking more openly about faith and creating a platform where other people could do the same. The first thing I did was hire a designer, really simple. It didn't cost a ton of money, but enough that it was a commitment for me.
Sure.
And looking back, that was maybe the best first step, because I couldn't talk myself out of it. At that point, I had taken one step in the dark, and then she was giving me feedback, and then I showed some family members, and then they gave me some feedback. And then as I started writing, I realized I actually don't really want to talk about this topic. I like this topic a little more. And so then we launched 2.0 and we launched 3.0. But starting and taking that first step then allows other people to be a part of the process and refine it.
Well, that blog, that project you referenced, The Small Seed, is now loved and followed by thousands of women across the country. And you really acknowledge it was a series of small steps that led to this huge platform.
Absolutely. That's why I called it The Small Seed.
The Small
Seed. It really
Seed.
was.
Finding a purpose can feel, I think, somewhat ambiguous, right? Like it's this big idea, what's my purpose? And you don't quite know where to start, but you say the daily motion will kind of help you focus in.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite tips, and it works whether you're a recent empty nester, a new young mom, a college co-ed, or in high school. It's if you want to build the life of your dreams, you have to practically build those dreams into your life. So make it a daily thing. Like, I want to be this, I want to be that. Well, what are you doing in an everyday basis? So about 2 years ago, I kind of hit, we talk about those ebbs and flows of motherhood and of womanhood.
Yes.
I hit one. We just had our 4th baby. My oldest was 5 years old, and it kind of turned into chaos. There were a few months there where I thought, I used to think I had so much willpower to like live this life I wanted. What's happened to me? But then I started realizing it wasn't my willpower, it was just that the old routines that I had in place didn't fit anymore. So I needed to build new routines in. And so I did that. And slowly I found those holes where they fit, and that discretionary time opened back up.
How can women, Lizzy, stay motivated and avoid that burnout that can set in any role or any title or any responsibility?
Burnout's real, right?
Yes.
For all women at all stages. The question that I love asking myself, well, first I'll say, know when to say no. There are times as women where we need to take a step back. It doesn't matter what everyone your age is doing. It doesn't matter what your neighbors are doing. Sometimes you need to say no and feel confident in being able to say no to things. The second thing, the question I tell a lot of women to ask is, why are you doing what you're doing? If you're doing what you're doing to impress others, if you're doing what you're doing to fill a hole or a void or an insecurity, that will lead to burnout. But if you're doing what you're doing because you feel some higher calling, because you have talents and gifts and you're excited to share and bless other people, there's a life and an energy to that that's amazing to me. I mean, even still now, my youngest is 18 months, right? And I have my 4-year-old twins and my 5-year-old almost turning 6-year-old. And I look at the projects on my plate and think, this doesn't really add up. But so many of those, they have a life and they have a spirit that gives me more. I don't walk away drained. I walk away with a passion and energy. And I go to bed at night thinking, that was a day well lived.
Because of that greater purpose.
Yep.
And that deeper meaning. Well, you're doing awesome things, encouraging women to tap into those meaningful moments as well and meaningful projects. And you have some great resources on your website.
Yes, so one of my favorite things, when I kind of sat down and thought, I want to be careful how I posture this. I don't want women to feel like it's all about doing more and doing bigger and reaching out to the woman on the other side of the world. If we're missing the people in our home and in our family and our neighbors, we're kind of losing the real purpose of all of it. And so we have a mini shop on LizzyJensen.com that has prints. You buy it once, you can print it in a variety of sizes, cards, prints, they can be used as gifts or just give to neighbors and friends. Print it as many times as you want. And that is my effort to say, don't forget the people right around you. Yes. That's where really the majority of the purpose is found for me.
That's your most important circle.
Yep.
Well, Lizzy's been so generous to share a coupon code with us, Lizzy Live 25. So be sure to access that before the end of the week. And we're cheering you on, girlfriend. Thank you so much for the advice. We appreciate it.